like, comment, subscribe. We have a long topic to talk about it. Let's get it. Now, the DCU has gone downhill, and I want to talk about where they went wrong and what they should have done. So, let's take it from the top. First, we get Man of Steel. All right, it does well. People like it. It's a good origin story. I like it. And then next up, we have Batman vs. Superman. This is how they released the movies. And a lot of people talk shit about Batman vs. Superman. I don't think that's me, bro. A lot of people was talking shit about Batman vs. Superman. Now, I was young at the time. Personally, I liked it. But then as I grew older, I started to see what people were talking about. And next up, we have Suicide Squad. Now, I had no clue who the Suicide Squad was when this came out. So I walked into this like, oh, what's the Suicide Squad? I had to do a little bit of research and I got the hang of it. And so far, I didn't think it was a great movie. I found Killer Croc to be awkward. I feel like he should have been CGI rather than makeup, because that makeup is not it. That's not it. And next up, we have Wonder Woman. A lot of people like this movie. Would you believe that I only saw this movie once? Literally, I have not seen that movie again since the day it was released. I've only seen this movie once. I have to rewatch this, but I'm just talking about the release of how the movies came out. So, next up, we get Justice League. And this movie gave me mixed feelings. I remember exactly how I reacted to this movie. I walked out of the theater very confused. I didn't want to talk shit because I usually watch a movie more than once before I start saying my real opinion on it. And I decided I hated this movie. I hated it. It didn't feel right. I did not like it. I didn't like it. It was horrible. And then next up, we got Aquaman, the biggest success of the DCEU. Now, when I saw this, I thought it was just good. Not great. I feel like it didn't deserve $1 billion because I only thought it was an average good movie. See, the way I rate movies, there's amazing, there's great, there's good, there's okay, there's bad, there's horrible, and then there's movies that you just can't even remember because it was so bad. Like, that's how I rate movies. But yeah, I thought Aquaman was good. And next up, they released Shazam. I thought this movie was good. It didn't get a big box office, but I took it well. I didn't think it was bad. Couldn't talk shit about it, but I thought it was good. I don't know why everybody was so heavy on it, but it was a good movie. But I think the issue is the way they executed things. So next up, Birds of Prey. Oh my goodness, I hated this movie. I fucking hated this movie. It was horrible. This is one of the movies where you can't even remember. I don't even remember Birds of Prey. This movie is worse than bad. Unmemorable. Couldn't even remember. Bad. And Wonder Woman 1984. I also saw this movie only one time. Honestly, it wasn't that good. Like, I watched it and I had mixed feelings. I'm like, what? Later on, I'm like, you know what? It's not a good movie. I didn't like it. It's okay, but meh. I'm going back and forth between okay and bad. So, didn't cut it. Then we get The Suicide Squad. Now, this one is a complicated conversation because the box office failed very badly. However, I love this movie because by this time, as the DCU was failing, I was at a point where, okay, the DCU is doing dumb shit. I was at a point where, you know what? I know what to expect from DC. So all this time they're doing dumb shit, The Suicide Squad is going to be a bad movie. When I watched this movie, I was, I enjoyed it. I actually was proven wrong. I assumed this movie was going to be bad because of how bad DC was doing, but it was actually good. But the box office didn't do well. I was surprised, but I loved the movie. This was a good one. This was way better than the first one. So I don't understand why this failed at the box office, because it was a good movie. Bad box, good movie. But next up, Black Adam. This one, oh my goodness. I had zero doubts about this movie. But this was a bigger disappointment because of the fact that I had such faith in it and it failed. I did not expect this to go the way I feel like it should have had more. It should have had more. I didn't like it. It was a bit cringy. So this one definitely was a failure. That's like an embarrassing failure. And then we got The Flash 2023 coming. Obviously, people are watching it because of Michael Keaton. Ezra Miller's dumbass. I hated him from the beginning. I didn't like Ezra Miller at all. So apparently, I don't understand why they're trying to fire actors who turn out to be innocent over accusations at Marvel, where Ezra Miller he's a real criminal, and they're still letting him keep the role. That's unbelievable. But that's not what this conversation is about. This is coming out this year. And then the final DCEU movie is Aquaman 2, which I'm hearing is the worst fucking movie ever. So let's go back to square one. I just want to talk about what the DCEU should have done instead that would have made more sense or would have been better executed if they had changed and done things the right way. Let's go back to Man of Steel. So, we're starting off with Man of Steel, origin story for Superman. We should start with Superman. Next up, instead of Batman versus Superman, we should have gotten the Batman solo movie with Deathstroke. So after Man of Steel, we get the Batman. So that way we have two solo movies rather than going straight into a merge with Batman coming out of nowhere fighting Superman. Like, what's going on? So after Man of Steel, we should have got a solo Ben Affleck Batman film. After that film, go ahead and make the Flash movie, an origin story for the Flash. Of course, I wouldn't have wanted it to be Ezra Miller, but make a Flash film after that. And after the Flash film, continue on with Wonder Woman. Now, the thing about this is I'm kind of changing the storyline of it a bit, if you know what I'm doing, because I didn't want Superman to die. So in this storyline, which I'm describing to you of how it should have been done, Superman does not die because that was a solo Batman film. So Superman does not die in this timeline that I'm making up. So after the Flash movie, we're doing Wonder Woman. And then after Wonder Woman, carry on with Aquaman. So that way we have solo movies established alone. After Aquaman, we're not doing Justice League, but Man of Steel 2 with Brainiac. This is how it should have gone. Now, we're not doing Justice League just yet. We'll get to that. So, after Man of Steel 2, we are doing a Green Lantern movie. Now, we haven't gotten a Green Lantern movie since Ryan Reynolds, which everybody hates. Now, I've only seen that movie once as well, but I don't remember any of that movie because I don't even remember what year I watched that movie. I was so young when I watched that movie. I don't remember any of it. And a lot of people keep recommending me not to watch it. But for research purposes, I'm going to watch it again. But yeah, a lot of people hate it. But after Man of Steel 2, it should have been a Green Lantern movie. And now, if you see where I'm going with this, we have enough characters established to do a Justice League movie with an appearance of Martian Manhunter. We don't have to give him his own movie, because right now we got Flash, Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Aquaman, Green Lantern, and Seven. We got Martian Manhunter coming in the Justice League movie in the beginning of the movie. And that way, Martian Manhunter can establish himself in the Justice League movie like that. So if they could have established this the correct way. Like, if you see what I've done, this would have made more sense and it would have been executed a lot better. And after the Justice League movie, you saw the picture, the Batman 2. And after the solo Batman movie, the second, after the sequel to that, now we can carry on into adding extra Justice League members like Shazam. And I would make the Shazam movie with Black Adam. Just simply put Black Adam as the villain. I think if I would have done that, Black Adam would have been the villain of that movie, and Shazam would have gotten no more movies, because Shazam is a Justice League member not as important as the other ones. I would have just gave Shazam a solo movie, and that was it. With Black Adam, and that was it. So after the Shazam movie, now we could talk about Hawkman and everybody else, extra Justice League members. That's where things should have gone. Like, the way they did it, it was very, like, all over the place. Like, you went from Man of Steel to Batman versus Superman just like that. It was like stupid. And then you made Suicide Squad. Like, nobody knows who the fuck the Suicide Squad is. Now, it did have a good box office, of course, but who the fuck is the Suicide Squad? That's what I was asking. Like, and to be honest, like, what is this about? Superman, like, everybody cares about the main Justice League members. Wonder Woman, Batman, Flash, Green Lantern, Superman. Those are the main characters you want to put your focus on. And instead, they did some dumb shit. They started going all over the place. One of the biggest issues of the DCEU is they put their focus onto characters that people don't give a fuck about, or characters that people care about, but people don't want to care about at that time because the focus is Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman, and Green Lantern. You know why the Avengers were such a success? Because they focused on Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America, Hawkeye, Black Widow. You know, they focused on them, gave them their chance to shine, and over time, they started adding in more people. Black Panther, Spider-Man, Ant-Man. Slowly, they started adding in the smaller, more lesser known or more popular characters, actually, because Spider-Man's way more popular than the Avengers. Like, they started adding characters that people really wanted to see. You know, that's another good strategy, to hide characters that people really want to see, so that when they come, oh shit, they're making more money. So that's one good strategy to execute. But, you know, lesser known characters Marvel has delayed and added on slowly and correctly because they put their focus on the people who deserve the spotlight first. Like, they're about to add the X-Men and everything, and, you know, more characters that we don't know about, unless you're a heavy comic book reader. But that's pretty much my pitch about this. Like, if the DC did this or something like this, let me just just go over it again. Like, in case you like missed it, this is basically how they should have done it in a way. So, Man of Steel, then a solo Batman movie, then a Flash movie, then a Wonder Woman movie, Aquaman, Man of Steel 2, where Superman is still alive and he fights Brainiac, then Green Lantern, Justice League with the introduction of Martian Manhunter, then the Batman 2, carrying on into Shazam and fighting Black Adam, and introducing Hawkman and other Justice League members. So if they would have done something like this, it would have been much more better. Like, I feel like the unnecessary things that DC has done, top movies that was unnecessary, Birds of Prey, total pile of shit. Suicide Squad, The Suicide Squad, still a good movie, but it was unnecessary. We need to focus on these characters. We need to focus on them. Nobody else at the time. All of those extra Suicide Squad, all of that shit, Black Adam, Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey, this shit, we don't need that shit. We need to focus on the main Justice League members. And this is where the DCEU went downhill. The DCEU went downhill with Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad and Justice League. Actually, the biggest fuck up was Batman vs. Superman. Killing off Superman like that. You didn't even give him his second movie. Like, if you're going to kill off Superman temporarily, at least do it in Man of Steel 2 or... Yeah, Man of Steel 2, I would have done something like killing off Superman. Because in Man of Steel, enemy was Zod. Well, after Zod, I would have gave him Man of Steel 2, where he fights Doomsday in Man of Steel 2. And the focus is on him fighting Doomsday rather than him fighting Batman and Doomsday. So I feel like it made no sense to have Superman fight Batman in Batman vs. Superman. Like, make it Man of Steel 2 and just do the villain as Doomsday. Like, this is where the DCEU fucked up. This is why it fucked up. And this is why it failed. After Batman vs. Superman, things started getting out of hand. Suicide Squad, especially at Justice League, they fucked up. So that's what I would do, or what they should have done in order to make a successful DC universe. Now, I'm going to make a video on how the DCEU could have turned things around based on what they already had versus this, like my pitch on what they should have done, because technically they can't do it now, because this is what I wanted them to do, or what they should have done that would have made more sense. I'm going to do a video on how they should have, or how they could have turned things around from what they already established for it to make sense. Because in the comics, there is the New 52. So I want to implement that and how they could have turned things around for it to make sense and them to carry on successfully with their universe without any backlash or nonsense and all of that. So that's all I gotta say. I really think they need to start bringing out Green Lantern. I haven't seen any Green Lantern in a while. No, at all. I don't count Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern. I don't count him. I haven't seen a Green Lantern at all. aside from cartoons, real life Green Lantern, and I don't count TV shows either. I'm not a fan of the TV show versions. I'm talking about cinema, movies only. No TV, no cartoon, no video games, no pictures. Movie. I have not seen a Green Lantern at all. Hal Jordan specifically, or John Stewart. Those two guys specifically, not the monster off of Justice League. But that is my pitch. If they would have done this, or something like this, it would have made sense. It would have made sense if they did something like this. Let me know what your thoughts are. Comment what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. That's my pitch on what the DCEU should have been. What do you think? Am I wrong? Am I right? Does this make sense? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm done.